Introduce yourself and tell them about your channel.
Nathan Elliott. I run a channel called Out of the Woods. It's about a sawmill that's located about 10 minutes down the road from here, actually. And I do sawmill videos, woodworking videos, and logging videos. More so sawmill than anything else.
So, yeah, I saw a table that you made. I think that might have been the first thing I saw.
Yeah, walnut table.
Yeah, it was a walnut table. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
So he had this idea. I said, hey, you want to do something on YouTube? So we decided Spud. So I have this piece of 80C RV2, of course, and I'm going to cut it in half. We're going to forge weld it together because we need a piece big enough to do what we want to do. And this isn't, I don't think it's big enough. I think it's thick enough, but I don't think it's big enough to make the other part. So we'll just cut it in half and go from there. You ever forge weld before?
No, I've never done any of this stuff.
Oh, cool. All right.
So I just watch you on YouTube. That's about it.
All right, we're gonna have fun. Let me find some way to determine where center of this is. I'm pretty terrible at measuring. Oh man, I got a compass somewhere. I feel like every time I come over to this wall to look for something, it's not gonna be there. But it probably has something to do with Heath moving it. Nope. No. Gosh, I'm probably just gonna have to go back to the old, ruler. I have a ruler.
Famous for your preparation skills, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'm really, really good at being ready and everything. Ooh, sharp. Everything's ready to go. Everything's in order. Okay. So center of that thing is 11 inches here, 11 inches here. I'm just measuring, very weak measurement, but I think that's where I want to cut it, right there. Okay, chop that in half. This will be the longest piece of steel I've ever forged welded together.
First ever bark spud too, I bet, ain't it?
Yeah, first bark spud. I still didn't cut it the right length, but that's kind of my style. So, what I really need are safety glasses. Let me go find some. You need a pair of glasses? I'll be right back. I'll be down the street. I'll come back in a little bit. See you guys.
I should have just followed him aside. Why did I do that? I should have just followed him. Huh?
Hey, I did find the kitchen knife that Heath lost.
Oh yeah, Heath, why'd you lose that, by the way?
Left it in my shop somewhere. It's super slippery though. Yeah. Is it working now? That's what did we make that on we made that on a regular, not a live feed, but a regular feed. So that's one that's stainless on both sides. That's my favorite kind of knife to make. African black wood. Yeah, ebony crack really fast.
10-bit or 8-bit?
All it needs is sunlight. Doesn't matter. Really? These my bow ties and my tables. Shut that size.
Let's see that knife, Jason.
Ron, so this is an upcoming video. You'll see how we made this. So you can see it, but that's all you can see of it. So you have to see that later. Subscribe. Leave a comment. So I've been having a lot of fun going back and answering all the questions and deleting all the jackasses. You ever have to do that on your channel?
Every night, that's what I do. Plenty of them on there.
I just delete them. I'm just like, whatever, man. Bards?
B-A-R-B-S, you know, barbiturate's a downer.
Oh, yeah,
so I
yeah.
call them bards.
Yeah, no doubt.
Always negative.
Always negative. All right, I'm just gonna clean 2 sides of this up and we'll tack it. And you're not a weld? No? All right, we'll weld too. I don't know how to weld, I just pretend like it. I gotta get some new comic relief material though. I keep using the same jokes.
Roughing it up so it will.
Well, just to clean the crud off of it, so whatever junk might have been on it, I just want to clean it. This will be the longest piece of steel I've just stuck together. I want to use this, and I'll use this. I don't like welding over here, but I'm going to do it anyway, so I don't have to damage the equipment. Scott, what's up? What do you want? Just being cool. Thanks, Scott. Scott Hale. Thanks, Scott. That's really cool of you. All right. I got the welder. I got this. I got this. The first welder I got was out of a dumpster. And I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I try really hard. So I'm just gonna tack this, and then I'll stick this handle on there, and then that'll give us enough material. So what we're needing is enough mass to make the bark spud, which does have to do with bark, but not potatoes. I say that because spud, whatever. All right. So I did have someone ask me about doing some Damascus and just wiring it all together, and that's doable, that's possible, and maybe I'll do that. You just take wire and you wrap the wire around all of it to hold it together. I like the way they do on have you ever watched a video where they make a samurai sword and they kind of wrap it looks like a dumpling, you know, they put rice paper around it and then they put the slurry on it. I like that because I like dumplings. Gosh, I feel like I got sparks on top of my head already. All right, okay. All right, one more little thing, which is going to be our handle, and then we're done. Try to use this side. Some trickery here. I didn't look at that. I forgot to tell everybody not to watch. I always wondered why my cousin, first time I ever heard somebody say, don't look at the welding, he's like, it'll make you go blind. Of course, I had to look at it anyway.
That's just what a handle for your work for.
Yeah, this is just a temporary, so it just makes it easier than using tongs at this point. Eventually, we're gonna have to use some tongs, but right now, this just gives us a Yeah, I actually tried to get Will in here the last time we did a live feed, which was last week, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Huh?
I think it was.
Yeah. Close this. Turn that off. Close that. Put this back on. Okay. So we're going to take that and make it one piece. So once it's forge welded, we'll just go back and I'll grind these little temporary tack spots on.
So you heat it up and it just melts together.
Well, it won't melt, but it'll get hot enough to kind of, this is interesting. It's gonna bond. It'll become one piece of steel. And
What's the temperature in there to do that?
about 2100 degrees we're gonna get it to.
What's required for 1200?
I've done it as low as 1800. And I'm not sure exactly why that worked. But so there's a lot of mythological thoughts about forge welding, and it is like the most magical thing you can do in blacksmithing and knife making is being able to forge weld. So if you can stick 2 pieces of metal, then you can stick 20 or 30 or however many to make Damascus. And the Damascus looks cool, so that's why I like to make it, because it looks nice. And sometimes, like in this situation, we just need a bigger piece of steel that I don't have. And I don't want to steal Curtis's because he has a big piece of steel, but I'm not going to take it. So I did have I had a piece of a bush hog blade that would have worked, but I can't find that either. So sometimes I just stick it together to make more steel. So it doesn't matter to me. But a lot of times what people will do is they will use flux. And I don't use flux anymore. I used to, but I don't use flux now. And this is something that people ask about all the time. The flux is supposed to protect the surfaces from oxidizing. So you see that scale, like all that stuff there. And what happens, I think, a lot of times with the flux is it just traps in the steel. You'll get it welded around a spot, but the flux will get trapped in there instead of squirting out. And you'll have a bad weld or a cold shut or something like that. So when I stopped using flux, I got really good welds, and they were clean. It just became easier. So I quit using
Is
it.
that white stuff they sprinkle with your
Yeah, anhydrous borax. A lot of times people use borax like 20 mule team borax, but that's not anhydrous. The best flux really is taking an old cast iron pan and just grinding it into powder and using that cast iron powder as your flux, because cast iron is like 2.5% carbon, and the higher the carbon content, the lower the melting temperature. So that cast iron will melt at about 1900 degrees. And what it does is it's like, I always think of it as like glue. So it's different. It's a different type of flux than anhydrous borax. It melts and bonds together. It doesn't protect the surface or anything. It just helps it stick. So in this case, we're not worried about flux because we don't have any. So we're going to get a really clean weld, and when we're done, you probably won't even see but one piece of steel. So that's the goal. So when it's hot, it's the same color as the inside of the forge, which is about 2100 degrees. I'll come over here and I'll just set the weld, bam, 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 and we'll work down a little bit more because I really want that thing. I think the blade would be nice to be tapered a little bit and then the curve in it. So, and we can make it wider than 2 inches.
Most of 2, 2.25, 2.5. Pickles are crowded too. There's no bigger the better. Probably.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what we can do is we'll make it. You can try it. And if we need to make it skinny, we'll grind it skinnier.
I'd say.
Yeah. All right. So what kind of wood's he going to use on the handle, like ash or hickory or something?
Whatever I take you.
Oh, cool.
Probably hickory.
Hickory.
For the properties like a mat sandal.
Right.
Keep it feeling stronger.
Do you find a lot of wood, like figured wood, like curly ash and curly hickory, or? No.
I got curly maple Sunday and I had to go about an hour and a half away to find it.
North of here? Or?
Down toward Knoxville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have plenty of walnut here, but not curly wood. It's here, but it's hard to find.
Huh.
Yeah, plenty of black walnut, but tons of black walnut.
That's cool. So we're getting close. Just gonna turn it over. It's looking pretty nice.
How big is the old stove?
1 When all those shadows are out of it, then it's ready to weld. Just gonna look, make sure all the shadows are out. Once there's no more shadows, then good to go. Okay.
That way people can hear Nathan better.
All right. So somebody was asking about these. Do you ever get people sponsor your channel?
I turn them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason being, it's just, I get offers every day.
Really?
Emails from companies wanting to send you stuff, and I don't like being told what to say.
Oh yeah, I don't either.
So I'm not for that, and we do just fine.
Right.
You know, I mean, we get about 1 million views a month.
That's cool.
So that's plenty enough for me to stay busy with.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's plenty enough.
There's things I like, so like I'll sponsor like a grinder or like these safety glasses. They don't give me any money or safety glasses. People just ask me, it's like I like them, so I'll promote the stuff that I like. I feel like it's good stuff. If you can buy.
Yeah, no, if I got tools I like, I'll show them, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get video game offers and stuff all the time.
Oh, really?
Video game got to do with sawmill and
You mean, there should be a little app. You can have a little app where you're sawing wood on the app. You know, like,
that'd be
what do they call that?
yeah.
What's it called? The MS saw? What is that? You know, we did it when we were cutting the soap. What do you call that? ASMR, yeah, just sawing the wood. So I did a little bit of sawmill work. Somebody calling me? This guy had, I don't know, he had like a little tiny, he made crab traps and he made these sheds. And he had all this pine, it was all yellow pine, and it was in the summertime. I just lost the job I had. So this dude I knew would have saw me. He's like, oh yeah, come on. So we got a couple 1,000 board feet to saw. So I mean, literally, it was 2 weeks of just renting that saw. It was 100 degrees outside.
What saw was it?
It was a wood miser. Yeah, it was a wood miser, but
Hydraulic?
yeah, it was all automated. It was pretty nice. So it would turn, and and once we'd chop one side, then it'd flip it over on it. You know, it was pretty nice.
Did you have to walk with the mill?
Nope.
Okay, mine's got the remotes too. I
Yeah.
just stand at the back and it does everything.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh.
Little sawmill again.
Oh, lathe, turning the lathe.
He's
Yeah.
got a forging.
Really? You got a forging one? Oh, of course it pours it into a mold. Oh my gosh. Crooked ass knife. I wasn't gonna say that. All right, we're hot. So we're looking at 2,100 degrees. That end out there where that shadow is, I want that to get a little hotter. This is the longest piece of steel I've ever forged well together. So if we screw up, huh?
A lot of first times today then.
Yeah,
So the shadow at the very end, you want that gone?
yeah, I want that gone. It's probably hot enough, but so here's a weird thing. One time when I first started forge welding this way, I stacked all the pieces together really tight, welded them, got them up to this temperature, and I decided I was gonna just test it to see if they would stick. I didn't hammer them. Pulled them out, ground all the welds off, it was stuck. So it was stuck together before I ever started moving it. So I thought that was interesting. All right, I'm gonna go over there to hammer and forge weld this thing. Woo! All right, I think we're good. That's stuck. That's nice. So I know it's stuck. There's no shadows in there. This is just a hydraulic press. It's just kind of evening. I just want to make it a little more even, consistent before we start, so I want to know where all this steel's going. So the next thing I'll do is we'll grind these little bumps off. You want some safety glasses?
sorry?
You want some safety glasses?
Yeah, I'll go over and find some here.
Okay, there's all over the place, so. Of course, we're not plugged in. All right, I'm just gonna grind all these little spots off right here. Looks pretty clean. So who did? Mando. The Mandalorian gave us $10. That was pretty cool. I like to know where people are from. You know what I mean? That's cool. Man, so what's cool is I can see I got a nice clean weld here. Everything's stuck. One thing I want to do out on the end though is I got unevenness here, so I'm gonna grind that clean. I could chop it off. I'll just chop it off. That's easier. And then that'll let us see the weld too. So we'll just chop it off. Ooh. Can't see. So let's see how it looks. So it's all clean.
Looks like one solid piece of steel then done.
It's good. Yep. Stuck. All right, next part. So, man, I think what we should do, because we have a lot more steel than we need, but probably making this robust is a good idea. We're already 2 inches wide. We'll taper it some, and then we'll do this. Oh, check. I can get it. Thanks. All right. So that's what I like to see. When I forge weld something, I want to see it like clean. I don't see any lines in it. 2 pieces of steel, now 1 piece of steel. And if you use flux, then you will see a line. And when you etch it, you will see a line. And if you don't use it, then you see nothing. My experience, anyway. I don't have to, that's one thing. And somebody last week, I appreciate it. I try to explain stuff to make it make sense to everybody. And what I need to do is stop apologizing for someone's lack of knowledge on the subject, whatever that is. So I know what I'm doing. When you're working in your shop, you know what you're doing, you know, as far as sawing lumber or whatever you want to saw or make. And we're always learning, I feel like, you know. Yeah, so always learning something new, but also I know what I'm doing, even if it doesn't look like I do.
That's a good point, because I never show something I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to do that off camera.
Yeah.
You know, and figure it out first.
Yeah, this one is a thing, like I know all the, like I've never made this before,
Yeah.
but I know how to do it. Like I know what is required to make the thing.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of spears with sockets. So it's the same principle. And I have done some chisels. It's been a long time.
Timber framing chisels and
Yeah, I made some Damascus timber framing chisels for a person. So they had Damascus on the top, but I forge welded mono steel on the bottom where the cutting edge was. So it looked cool, but it's kind of neat. All right, I'm gonna put my shirt over here. I'm gonna open this door too.
Thanks a lot for sharing your knowledge. I've been practicing your hammer swing, and it's already helping my control and fatigue. Thank
Oh, nice. Hammer swing. Not like this, not like this, like this. That's one of the first things very difficult to show. That's why when I have classes, I show people how to use the power hammer instead of this. Because a lot of times people want to, do all kind of stuff like putting your thumb here, that hurts your wrist and your elbow and your shoulder. But if you hold it like where you have more range of motion in your hand, then it's like anything. It's like any kind of, throwing a baseball or swinging an axe or anything that you're doing. If you do it the right way, you're not going to hurt yourself and you'll be more effective. So, thanks. I like it when people appreciate what we're doing. All right. What are they doing? They all at home? They stuck at home for something?
Stuck at home.
Everybody stuck at home? Ain't got nothing to do? Okay, so, man, this is kind of a big chunk of steel. All right, I'm gonna let you do some taper on this thing.
what's that bubble in there? What's going on there?
The bubble it's just scale.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's what we'll do. I'll help you. I'm gonna get the tongs. That's probably the most used word in the shop is tongs. For some reason I can't find the ones I want. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. When you're working in this, work level. Don't be high or low, be like horizontal. Yeah. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off easy, and then you're just gonna increase, gonna hit it harder. So easy blows and then harder blows, and I'll tell you when. Does that make sense?
Just drawing it out.
Yep, just a little longer. So I'll let you grab that, and I'll grab the tongs from this way, so I'll help you. So when you feel me moving, you move with me.
Okay.
All right? So you can grab it. Don't grab the hot part. And
Somebody donated 2 pounds and said, what is flux and is it really necessary?
no, it's not necessary. All right, so right there, and then now you pull it towards you. We'll get a little more tapered than that. All right, get hot again now. How long is the blade usually on the thing? That long?
About like that, and then the sockets probably.
Same.
We can play at that design. The only ones I've seen are in antique stores.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
I'm a little picky on that.
So that question about what is flux and is it necessary? So when you're using high carbon steels, their forge welding temperature is lower. So when you're using a mild steel or like wrought iron or any of these things, their welding temperature is a little higher because there's no carbon in them or very little carbon. So higher the carbon content, lower the forge welding temperatures are. I don't find flux to be necessary. Just having clean steel is necessary. I forge weld stainless and carbon together, and I don't use flux, but what I do is I totally seal the weld all up. So I just, in the last couple years, I've decided I don't need it. So to answer that question, flux is designed to protect the steel surface from oxidizing or getting the scale forming on it. If you get a lot of scale, it won't stick. It doesn't want to stick. But also scale will dissolve. So if you have a problem with something not sticking, let it sit a little bit longer. Wait for the scale to dissolve, because it will, and then you can stick it. All right, what I'm going to do next is kind of try to do this wasp waist to form that other part, the socket part. So we'll leave that much for blade. I think that's enough. So this, all this part will end up being socket. So I just got to figure out how much of that we need. We probably don't need all of it, so I'll take it a little farther and then cut it off, and then we're gonna have to use the tongs. But before I do that, I'll put more taper in it so I can grab it.
So that's the bow tie you were talking
Yeah, yeah. It's looking good. You can use this same technique to make small chisels or whatever, you know.
Yes.
I used to do a lot of wood carving. I had those Swiss-made chisels. They had a tang with like a ferrule on them instead of sockets. And then I had some that were sockets. But
Yeah, I like the socket. It's easier to sharpen.
yeah.
Stone, take the handle off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense. And these are big tools. You know, these are tools for something completely different. So I feel like they need to be. Kind of a nice taper. That's about, but we can make that blade longer. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna chop this off, and then we'll start turning that into, the socket should probably be the same length as the blade, maybe. Yeah, okay. I think we can do it. I just need some tongs. So on this part, I'll let you do some more forging too. Now we're a little closer. Man, clean weld, those are nice. So that.
Just verifying your weld again.
Yeah, it looks good, so I'm happy with it. Looks good out here. There's no separation. It's still just one piece. I don't see two lines, so it's perfect weld, and that's good news. All right, so this should be able to grab this. All right, now what we're gonna do? I'm gonna let you do some of this with me. So what we'll do now, you're gonna hold the tongs, and we're gonna work right here. You can rest your foot here. So right-handed or left-handed? All right, so right hand, right foot. So just work this. And I'll help you with the other tongs. So what you're gonna do here is we're gonna just hit in the middle, and we're gonna basically fan this thing out like a big fish tail.
Okay.
And if you think about steel like clay, that's how it moves. It moves just like clay. I have a bad habit sometimes of thinking too long about how this goes. I know exactly how it goes. So we don't have to think about it that much. We could just we'll keep approaching it, you know what I mean? We'll just keep going straight forward. So there's a friend of mine, he's a knife maker out in Austin. His name is James Helm, and he makes bush swords and machetes and stuff, and he does this technique to make the handle, which is kind of cool. I think it's from Thailand or somewhere. A lot of the countries in Southeast Asia, they'll make implements and garden tools, but they'll do a socketed handle, and it may not even have wood or anything on it or attached to it. It'll just be wrapped over, which is kind of neat. So instead of adding material, they just put there, you know, they make a socket, or, you know, they make it round or oval shape and then wrap over it with cordage, which is kind of neat. But this guy, James Helm, he does a lot of that, which is neat. where my soda pop is. Soda pop. There it is. Bad for you.
Somebody has a question about what the series is, if it's comprehensive about knife making or just specifically about forging.
Oh, the Forged series is, which camera are we on? We'll go to Matt's. So the Forged series is making the elemental knife, which I just call the elemental knife, is a forged to finish knife. And the reason that I made it that way is so it's very easy to make and follow. You don't have to have a lot of equipment. In the video, I am using the power hammer and the press, but the benefit for you, if you don't have that, that's fine. The same techniques translate. So you can use your hand tools and it moves the same way. Steel moves like clay. But the whole purpose of the Forge series was I wanted to share the information on designing a knife and making that knife from start to finish, how to shape the handle, how to forge the blade, how to design it, why the design works, and every little detail in between. So it's basically me sharing all of the information I've gathered over the last 20 years and giving it to you in a, what is it, almost 3 hours of information. So every little detail, how do you do it, how do you do it, but mostly why you do it. So that's what it's about, and it's pretty successful. So I highly recommend it. I think we did a great job on that. Okay, maybe I need to get it further in there. Hope that answers the question good enough. There is a trailer. You can go watch the Ford Series trailer, which is pretty, self-explanatory. And I got water if you want water or anything.
Does it matter how many times you do a heat on this stuff?
Not really.
Don't affect nothing?
No, there's arguments to be made about it, but the idea is we're going to try to do it as efficiently as possible. But like when we're moving this much steel, ideally I want to move it as fast as I can, so I'm going to get it hot first. All right, so here's this tongs. I'm let you grab that steel, get a good grip back there, and then I'm going to come over here like this, and we will work it underneath the hammer. So I'll help you like right here. All right, now, and you can sit your foot on there, that one right there, and just give it a schwack. We're just going to hit dead center. Yeah, just stay dead center, and we'll move up this way, son. Nice. Now, if you feel me move over like that, then we can move. But mostly, we want to really ditch this out. We'll get it about 1/8 of an inch thick, and that right there will just be the neck, so we won't have to worry about that. You can hit it harder. Yeah, there you go. So if you think about it like it's clay, this moves like clay or Play-Doh. All right, let's get it hot again. So that temperature is getting where you can start to see that it ain't moving that good, so we just get it hot again. A lot of times I watch people forge stuff down to cold. Because this is a high carbon steel, we don't want to do that. So one of the problems if you're forging a high carbon steel as opposed to like mild steel or just construction grade steel or blacksmithing steel, it doesn't have very much carbon. So you can forge it to, down in those dark colors and not damage it. With this, we run a risk of cracking it if we forge too cold. So, and because it's still thick, it's better just to keep working. Now, what we can do, once we get some more width on it, we'll stretch it out a little bit more. But we'll leave that little place where we kinked in. Eventually, we'll either round that up or make it octagonal or something. We could do, it's a chisel, but we can make it kind of artsy. We can make it kind of like, you ever see old tools and be like, wow, I wonder why they made it octagonal, or why did they do this, or why did they do that? It's just the craftsmanship of the thing. I'm using 80 CRV2. I feel like that company should be a sponsor. All right, we're hot. Want to do it again?
Yeah.
All right. I'm doing is just guiding you over here. You have total control there. Let's work the middle from about right here. Yeah. Get it hot again. Man, you want some earplugs? I'm gonna get some. It's loud on that side. Well, I don't reuse them. Who you waving at? No.
About 15 seconds, man.
Okay. So I like to explain it more like it's like clay, really. So all these different materials work in interesting ways. It's like carving wood. If you carve against the grain, it's a real pain in the butt. How about sawing against the grain? Does that matter?
I try to quarter saw most stuff, unless it's live edge.
Yeah.
It's so much easier, so much stable.
Nice, yeah. Quarter sawing looks good too.
Oh yeah. A lot of people don't like it because it's just straight grain.
Yeah.
But it's the best wood.
Yeah.
It doesn't move hardly at all.
Yeah. It looks good, I think. It's very clean. It's like in making furniture, a lot of people want they think they want to see the burls, but I worked in a cabinet shop for a while, and all of that wood that was all burly and twisty, we wouldn't use it.
Oh yeah.
If we got wood like that, that was scrap. It wasn't any good.
They want the stuff with the holes in it, so they do the epoxy boards.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they call me and say, you got anything with a big hole in it. My father-in-law was always like, that stuff was firewood 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Now it's $15 more.
All right, I'm going to tune this up a little bit. So we're going to keep going wider. I just want to make it a little more even, possibly. So that's still pretty thick. So what I want to do is we'll make it thinner, and then we'll roll it up. All right, you gotta make it thin. We'll make it a little longer too. Trying to determine how much steel you need to make a thing so that it can make that space. So right now I'm just guessing because I want that socket to be a little over an inch,
You gotta weld it shut too, right?
Yeah, we'll weld it shut. Now back in the old days, they'd forge weld it shut, which is pretty cool, and it can be done, but I don't have the best big iron. Let me go find that thing. Have it still. This is a special tool we made to do this, and I hope I still have it. It's like one of those pieces that you kick around, and then when you need it, don't know where it is. Well, I don't know where it went. We might have to make one. So, trying to find this tool. I don't know what this is, I just like it. I think it's kind of neat. I don't even know what it goes to. Oh, it's not in there. I have to call Tristan. I'm gonna let you do that part. I'm gonna help you. We'll just keep working. We'll start in the middle and all the way there. Yep, ready to go. This time, cant it a little bit this way. Yeah, now do the same thing that way. That's good. It looks just like a fish tail. I like the way that looks.
Got the death grip on the tongs.
Yeah, good.
I was the guy on the video that dropped the tool. I'm like, I'm not letting go. I'm letting go.
All right.
Like I said, Jason spends an hour a day looking for tools.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. What's funny is this is one that I have, but I don't use it very often, so I don't know where it is. Here's a sword. I think that's one Tristan was making a long time ago. So, well, just don't know where it is. And I guess we're gonna not use it because I don't know where it is. So, what we'll do, it's kind of weird. I want to blame it on Curtis, but I don't think he's ever used it either. Can't blame it on Curtis. Well, we might need to might make a tool to just make sure we have that socket right on. So, all right, I gotta look at it. This is like the most aggravating part. Go a little bit longer here. We'll go a little thinner. And then the next part. I think it's big enough. What's up, Niels? I wish we could bring Niels Vandenberg online with us. What time is it over there? South Africa. Did I say it right? I probably did. And Niels is a awesome knife maker. Good dude. Crazy. Huh?
5 o'clock there.
5 o'clock. All right. I'm just gonna go a little wider, probably. That's probably the right thickness. I think that's good. So what? Yeah, it's just barely big enough to get in the forge. What are we making?
So now you'll start to fold, I guess, is that right?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'm actually gonna set up the grinder. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. So what a lot of old school blacksmiths would do, contrary to popular belief, they would actually take a hot cut and hot cut it so they can get the right fold on it. A lot of times modern bladesmiths and blacksmiths, especially bladesmiths, they think that you have to forge it exactly. Well, that's tricky, and you can do it, but it's not easy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tune that pre-form up before we roll it over, so we'll make it a little more accurate before we roll it. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm just gonna make sure we're uniformly thick and even, and I think it's gonna be really nice here. It's pretty nice. All right, so we're gonna let that cool off for a second. While that's cooling off, I was thinking about letting you just bang on something if you want. Do you want to do that?
I'm just watching.
All right, we're gonna let that cool off for a second, and then we're gonna grind. We're just gonna make these two even sides even, and then we will begin to roll it up, and I think that'll be good. So let's do that. Set it right here. All right, that's nice. Get the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm just cleaning it up. Yeah. So what you could do is you could take a hot cut and just cut it evenly, but I don't have that right now. We're just gonna grind it. Okay, looks pretty good. So that's kind of what we want right there. That looks pretty good. I think we could go a little thinner. One of the things about forging is when I think I have it the right thickness, I kind of don't. So I'm going to make it a little bit thinner, and hopefully we'll be able to get it in on. But it's like when you make anything, you have over forged areas. One of the ways that you can control that is by making the preform like perfect. So the preform would need to be perfectly uniform in its shape, and ours wasn't. We were, where we had more steel, where it's pulled out more, of course, that's what I just took off. So other techniques to get rid of that besides grinding would be hot cutting it or being really, really good with your preform so you don't have to do that. But this same technique works for making a socketed spear. So everybody out there want to make a Viking style spear or the ancient, Celtic spears and Norse spears and stuff like that. Same technique. Make a big docket.
We'll draw it out now, make it thinner.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it a little bit thinner, and I'll probably mostly do that with the hammer, and I'll try to be as uniform as possible. It's gonna make it easier to roll over, and you really don't need that much material. We don't need a 1/4 inch thick. Right. We're right about an 1/8 inch, but we can go thinner to do this. We don't need that much steel. And I wanna make sure we have a pretty robust handle on it, and you can change that as long as where it meets up. And also we'll put a little hole in it, so if you want to put like a roll pin or something through there, you can do that. All right. Do this hammer for a minute. Some places I can see, and some places I can't see. So I'm using the round side just to kind of help me thin this out a bit. I'm really moving, this is moving pretty good. Nice. So I'm using the round side to make this move a little better. Sometimes I lose a sense of where I am on that hammer. So it's nice to switch back over and say, okay, I know exactly where we are now. So they would make a cool fish sculpture.
You control that some easier, I guess.
Yeah, I just let the weight of the hammer. This is a big hammer. I'm just letting the weight of the hammer do the work. But if you hold it like this or like this, it'll wear you out. If you hold it like this and just let it go, it's easy. It gets cold pretty quick, but if you notice, I'm trying to keep most of the steel off the anvil. I just hit one spot and move the steel. It's getting nice. I think we're close. I think what we're gonna have to do though is make another tool because I don't have one.
What do you need? Something for to make the form?
Yeah, to make the. So I got this started. This is a piece of W2. That'd be kind of nice size for the tapered end of the socket. You think?
Yeah.
So what we'll do, maybe I'll do a bigger one. Maybe a little bigger. This is pretty rare steel, so I'm really hesitant to do anything, but it's okay. We're gonna make a tool out of it, it'll be fine. I'm not gonna stress, I'm just gonna make it. This is W2 that I always talk about. So this is like,
Why is it rare?
they don't make it anymore. It hasn't been made in years and years. So I'm just going to forge a taper on that end, and we'll make our little piece to help us do our second. I had an old piece of jackhammer bit that I had made for this. think that's better. It's pretty much preform. I'll just smooth it out. And we'll start rolling it. And eventually this piece of steel here will be hot enough. We'll forge a taper on it, and then we can use that for our mandrel, which, because I don't have one otherwise.
So that'll be a future tool for your future chisels you make.
Yeah, yeah. So what's so cool about the W2, the old stuff, and I try to make sense out of this, it has vanadium and carbon, but it has enough carbon to activate the vanadium carbide. So like 80 CRV2, it has vanadium in it too, but there's not enough carbon to activate the vanadium carbide. So the vanadium in it becomes wear resistance and grain refinement and a couple other interesting things. Gotta pay attention, otherwise I'm not. All right, just gonna smooth this thing out. Make it smooth as we can. So I'm just gonna kind of do some planishing here. Okay, now we'll roll it up. So I need something to help me roll it, which is a big block of wood I have over here. Maybe I don't have the block of wood. So I'll just use the vise. Switch hammers, I'll use this hammer. So what I'll do is I'm gonna put that fishtail in there and I'll start rolling it around in here. How's it going in there?
Good. We're working on trying to find some lights we can put on the cameras so you know which one's live. You got 410 people.
Wow, all right. That's a pretty good audience.
All my people said they'd come over and watch today, so.
Cool, that's cool, yeah.
What's a good use for that rare steel then?
Knives. I like to make knives out of it. Yeah. There's some modern manufactured versions of it, but it's not the same. I think it's not the same because a lot of the modern steel is made out of like old junk cars and stuff. It's not made out of, it's not refined ore, iron ore and carbon and vanadium. Like a lot of that old steel was made that way. Ford used to manufacture W2 to make axles out of it, which is really neat, because the outside would harden and the inside would stay springy. And I think that's one of the reasons that they did that. So some of that steel came from Ford. I'm trying to figure out which ones I'm using. So I'm gonna start folding this thing over. Now, use this hammer. Now we can come over here to anvil. Get it hot again. Oh, good. I didn't know it was going to fit. Okay, that's hot enough to make a point on, so we grab some different tongs. I think these will work. So I'll forge a point on this. Not the right ones. I got a pair that are like perfect size. But people probably get irritated with me throwing the tongs on the ground like that. I just do it every time. All right, so we'll make a point here. right. Make it smooth. Okay, that's all we need. I'll set that aside, and then we'll go back to this. Whoa, it's hot. Makes it easier to move though. And it can wrap over itself is fine. Probably made it bigger than I need, but that's all right. So now I'll get it to cone up. And we can, if it gets too tight, we can open it back up with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna make this a little smoother. So now, dangerous, hot, pointy piece of steel in the vise. Not super bright, but we'll just have to remember it's in here. And if we get hurt, it'll be caught on camera. All right, less heat. Smaller hammer. Where's my? Oh, that's a good one for that. All right. And the tongs that I was using. Right? These are the tongs I'm looking for. All right. No, 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 no. Yeah, that's going to be nice. Okay. Just checking. I think we got a lot of socket.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, robust material makes it heavier, makes it, you know.
Yeah, we'll taper that out. So we'll end up, if we need to trim some of the blade off, we can trim some of it off. It doesn't have to be that huge, but we can make it wider too. I think it's right at 2 inches right now. Okay. I'm gonna go over here and do this. All right, we're getting there. Not bad. What's cool is we'll be able to overlap that,
Yeah.
and then we'll have more steel than we need, which will be good.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on W1?
W1, really good steel. It's clean. It's available everywhere. So it's like 1095, but really clean. So W1's good. Good steel. Well, a lot of times I think what happens with knife makers is they'll take these steels and they'll temper them too much, and they end up being very soft. And If your knife is too soft, it won't cut very well. All right. Want that side to overlap a bit. Nice. It's not terrible.
It resembles a slick, you know, for timber framing.
Yeah.
It really looks like that a whole lot.
Yeah, I might have made our beard too, I mean our tie too big, but I think it'll be fine. We won't know until you test it.
Oh, it's tested.
Someone said, please ask Nathan if he wants or needs the sockets and offset the blade. Someone named.
No, I think what Jackson's going to do, I guess I should answer it, he's not striking.
All right. What was that?
Somebody had a question on the offset. I think what he's going to do is have the offset come up at the end of the blade. They was asking if the offset, the blade should be offsetted from the socket.
It'll kind of flow because it has a little bit of a curve to it. Yeah. So right now it looks really rough, but we're going to do some tuning on it to get it all right. Yeah. Sometimes when you're doing this, it doesn't look super pretty, but it is a strange ice cream cone, no doubt. All right. All right. Now, so what we'll do is we'll take the welder and we'll weld that seam up and then grind it all smooth and then do a little more forging on it to make it look nice and clean. I know a lot of people won't like that, but that's too bad. All right. Okay, getting close, huh?
Super chat. There's almost 500 people here.
Wow, super chat. Super chat. So if you guys don't know, the super chat is designed for you to be able to get your question answered. There's so many people in there right now. We're having a hard time seeing who's actually there and who's actually asking questions and stuff. So the super chat feature just allows us to accurately answer the questions in some kind of order. So. All right. Okay, that's not terrible. Get hot again. Man, I really wish I had that other tool. It's super nice to be able to use that thing. Thinking about making that fit in my forge, but I really hate to work on it so hard. I really hate to bend it up so bad. But, I ain't getting that loose. That ain't coming out. That's how you break your.
So I'm guessing there's a lot of knives in there.
Oh yeah, could be. Or a big chopper. a big knife. So if we can get that to fit properly in there, I think we'll have it right on the money. Just kind of shrinking this a bit is all I want to do. This is what I want. So the super chat will allow you to get your question answered a little more easily. I hope that makes sense. I want that piece to fold up in there some more. And then this piece on this way, and they'll overlap a bit, which will be nice. I don't want to bend it. All right. Okay. So, do another thing here. All right. See our socket. All right, nice. It's looking good. Okay. I'm happy with that. Just got to tune it up. Tuning it up. That's the hard part. Hot. Okay. There's a tool called a Bic iron. That's what I was looking for, but I can't seem to find it. It's basically that, but it comes out of the anvil and has a curve on it. And because I don't know where it is, I won't be able to use it. What I'm gonna do instead is kind of work this a little by hand. Oops. Where's my big old bitch, man? This will be good. All right. So we're gonna put that there.
Axe Junkie, $15. Looks like an awesome project. It's really nice to see you and Nathan doing a collab. Thanks for sharing your knowledge with the community. Say hi to Nathan Rooster.
That's Craig Rooster. You know Craig?
I think so.
He's good friends with old Dave Canterbury.
Does he live up in?
He's the council tool dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guy.
That's cool. Yeah, I like those. All right. So I might get you to do something here. I'm gonna have you come over here on this side and hold these tongs for me. Like that. That'll be great. All right, we're gonna be on here like that, and that is better. Now turn it that way. Yeah. All right, keep turning. Keep turning. Okay, cool. All right, that's better. We'll go back in the fire. So now, just going to tune it up a little bit. What I'll do next is I'll weld it closed, and that way I don't have to worry about it. You know, it won't come unraveled anymore, and we can really make it nice, make it fit the.
Use the welder to close the.
Yeah, I'll use the welder to close the socket up. So let me make a space because I have to see really good on this one. Guess I'll just do it over here. Pretty nice. That horn or this horn? This one. Okay, I'm gonna let that cool off for a minute, and then I'm gonna clean it up and then weld that together. I think that'll be good. Let me crank this thing on so we can normalize it.
Yeah, I didn't know he was even down here. I'm about to meet that guy.
Yeah, he's pretty
I
cool.
used to watch him all the time on TV years ago.
Yeah, I forgot he had a TV show.
Yeah, 10 years ago maybe.
Yeah, time flies. All right, who all's out there? Did the super chat feature make sense when I explained it? Probably not. So there's over 500 people watching right now, and so we're getting like a giant influx of questions, and it's hard to see all of them. So if you want to have your question answered, you have to use the super chat feature, and that will make sure that we can answer your question. Thank you.
Or sawmill question.
Or sawmill questions.
There you go.
Yeah. I think it's pretty fascinating. How long does it take, if you saw some like 5/4 lumber, how long does it take for that to dry?
5/4 hardwoods around here, air dry, about 90 days if it's summer or spring, longer in winter.
Yeah.
In my kiln, under 20% takes about 10 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So if you cut lumber for siding or something, what's the thickness you normally cut?
Usually right at 4/4, and it goes up green around here. These farmers here put it up green.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I got into the specialty stuff,
Uh-huh.
and 1 or 2 logs a day is about all I usually do now.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. So while that's cooling, I'm gonna give it a little, it's over there, okay. I don't know what the temperature is because I don't know where the thermometer is. Man. This is just the regular old steel here. Huh? No, it's already, this is all good. That's all high
Okay,
carbon.
so
We don't
it's
need to.
cold now. I didn't know if you.
Yeah. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna let this cool off enough so I can blast it, so I can clean up that little line right there. I just want to blast it in the sandblast. I could probably do it now. It's probably cool enough. Don't want to burn myself or melt my glove. Tricky. All right. I didn't get burned. Nice. All right. No burn. One other thing I wanted to do. Okay, just let this cool a little bit more. some people will hate this and some people will love this, but I use the tools that I have to my advantage. So yeah, you could forge weld this up traditionally and that would be just fine. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the handy dandy miller. All right, put that there. I want to do something with this steel while it's hot because I can. I thought I had more time to fool with that, but I didn't, so I'll set it aside. Now, hopefully I don't screw up too bad on this. Open. Oof. It's too much. Say 14 gauge. Okay. Okay. All right, that ain't looking too bad. Not looking bad at all. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay.
Bring back the kilt.
Kilt. Or kilt it. All right. It's not bad. Oh, that's not bad. I'm happy with that. Now we can really get that shape nice. Okay.
That way of closing up, any difference at all really in strength besides forge welding and using that?
No.
Same.
This weld wire is 70,000 psi, and the truth is a weld is a weld. And so if you're welding properly, you know, I have a space, I'm filling the space with the weld material, I'm stitching it together. It's a good weld. It goes, I set it to 14 gauge, so it's deep enough to penetrate but not burn. So that's one of the problems a lot of times with welding something close that's really thin. You don't want to do it too much, but it's stuck. It ain't coming undone. It's never going to be able to come undone. And it's kind of double layered, you know, we've kind of got it over layered, so it'll make a cool little different color line running through it. So now we're going to go back and do some more tuning with this. So what I'll do is I'll get you to hold that end, and then we'll work it around. So we'll just so you can hold the tongs and I'll hold this. I'm gonna make this a little smoother. Have you ever watched that Walking Dead show?
I used to, and I got tired of it.
Yeah, you know what? They don't have, why doesn't anybody on there have a tomahawk or an S-wing hammer? You know, I don't get it. Okay. Get the right hammer, this little light one. And then I'll get you to grab the blade part, and then you can come on this side of the anvil. You could probably come over here, Heath, and see a good shot of it.
What's his name?
Heath, right? It was Heath, it still is, isn't it?
Go around with it.
Yeah. All right, I just want to tune, I'm just tuning it up. All right. That going. Pretty good. Okay. Grind that weld a little bit better. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, now we can go back and do the finish the blade. How about the blade? You think it's so what we want to do is make sure it's straight, but it's wide enough and where we want a little bit of a curve, I guess.
Yeah, just a little sweep that way.
All right.
That's the way the full, when you draw this out, is that the final length of it?
Huh?
Will that be further, or is that going to be the length of it?
We can make it longer. Yeah.
I think the length is good.
The length's good, maybe wider.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll make it a little wider. All right, I'm just getting it all straight. So that weld, I'll go back and clean that up. I'll grind that weld off, and then it'll look nice. Yeah, that's gonna be good. The fun part is just cleaning the forging up and making it look good. Since this is the first chisel like this I've made, a bark spud.
What type of steel do you use to make your kitchen knives? What do you recommend for food safety?
I use high carbon steels. I don't worry about stainless. Sometimes I'll do stainless on the outside and carbon in the core, but you know, kitchen knives were made out of high carbon steel for thousands of years until just recently. And I really don't see the benefit of stainless steel kitchen knives. Not knocking them, I've made them out of stainless. I have some that I make out of stainless still, but I prefer a high carbon kitchen knife. Yeah, that'll work. So we'll just make it a little bit wider. And then the chisel side will be on the bottom. If this is the top, I just don't know what the curvature is on it.
As far as the radius.
Yeah.
I'll just play with it by eye, just a decent sweep, but it got to be real exaggerated, I don't think.
So the idea is just be able to basically shaving it off. Okay.
And this will be on 2-inch boards, not the actual log. I'll do it after I saw it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just less work.
So when you get using it and you say, hey, you know, this is fine, but what we really need it to be is bent like this or this, then you have to bring it back and then we'll fix it. Because I know how to make it sharp and I know how to make it work. I just don't know exactly how it works. So that's the thing with any knife design, you know, like making a chopper. I look at people's knife designs all the time, and some of them are just fun. There's a guy, he's making stuff and it's like, it looks fun, but they don't work right. You know, a lot of knives won't work right if you don't make it properly. Kitchen knife, if you don't make the edge geometry right or the shape right, it just won't work. That's one of those knives, or a hunting knife, you know, a knife you're cleaning animals with. You get a good one and you never want to lose it, you know, because that's the roughest part of the whole job. But if you get a clunker, then it's, you know, it's just going to make you a lot of problems. So that's the thing with making tools, is really refining them and making them work well. All right. We go a little wider. Come over here. Give the whole chisel maybe a little bit of a curve.
Yeah.
Just look one up. Let's see.
Someone's asking when you plan on demonstrating the tool.
Yeah.
Gosh, I guess as soon as we get it done, Jason's got to finish it, heat treat it and all that. Then
Yeah.
Curtis Buchanan, my buddy that's the chair maker in Jonesboro, will make us a handle for it. So hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, images. Oh yeah, ours is pretty. Got a pretty decent looking curve, so that's about the same, 9 inches overall, maybe 2 inches wide.
And the bevel's on the top, isn't it?
The bevel's on. I don't know. I better find out. Of course, nobody shows a good picture of one. Here's one. Yeah, the bevel's on the back side. And it looks like it's a little rounded off on the corner instead of sharp. Like the corners look a little bit rounded. Walmart, that would be terrible. I don't want to Walmart anything. Gosh, the pictures are so terrible. Felled box. Okay, so it's like a chisel. It's across the backside. It's a little curve to it. We can do all that. So we'll put the chisel in on this side. This will be the edge over here. Go to this hammer. So that'll be the sharp part on that side.
I'm just forging that in. That way,
we don't have to grind that much. All right. Maybe that much curve.
That's good.
Now we'll straighten. Make sure I got that thing straight. Okay. I want to just make sure the handle's straight, which is pretty much straight. Like I feel like I knew what I was doing or something. I mean, it looks straight. It may be a little off, but we'll find out. So I think that's a good curve. So what we have to do is just really have to get it finished, handle, try. It'll be fun. I'm not making any more of these, except for Nathan. So don't order one. You can't order one from me.
You got a maker's mark you stamp in there?
I'll etch it in. Yeah. So let's see if we got this part in here. Doesn't take too much. I think it's straight. I'm going to normalize it, so I'll be doing that a good bit. So what I'll do with the grinder, I'll clean up some of the lines. I'll make it a little smoother looking, straighten that up, grind the chisel, clean it up. So what we really need to do next is just the normalizing and heat treating part of this whole thing, which is the boring part, but it's the critical part. It's just not quite straight. For that one, based on what it's going to do, I don't know what the degree would be, but I could just grind it and understand it.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. We could. I don't know what it is. Like that. Exaggerated view. How long have we been on? Hour and 45. Well, this is pretty much all we can really do on this thing today, but it was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Not sponsored by Coca-Cola. I hope you enjoyed it. Sometimes it's kind of fun to work with some other people that do YouTube channels to make something that will work for the both of us. So when we get this done, you'll see it on Nathan's channel. It's Out of the Woods Forestry.
Yes.
So follow him over on YouTube where you are now and subscribe to his channel, and you can watch some of that. So if you don't know what it is to saw wood or where lumber comes from, you probably have wood stuff all around you. And it's really nice to see that's the source of it. So we'll be putting this to use hopefully in the next week, get it done. So my part I feel like is the easy part. Your part is the hard part because you actually have to use it, and that's work. All right, this is the best way to straighten. Put it in here. Man, it looks really straight already. I think we're good. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
It's got a nice flat curve to it there.
Yeah, I think we're good. Crooked, but I know how to straighten it. It's one little thing we got to tune up there. What?
How are you going to put that in the kiln?
Oh, I'll hang it. I'll just drill a hole for where when you put a socketed handle on something, usually you should put a little roll pin in it to keep it from coming out, or some kind of little pin. So I'll drill the hole in there, and then I'll hang it and normalize, heat treat, Probably won't harden the whole thing. I'll probably just harden the, you know, the last 3 inches of it.
Takes a few hours to heat shrink all that down.
Yeah, the timbering part is what takes the longest. But when I'll be cycling it, so it'll take a while, so I'll get it up to 1500 degrees, and then so you can see where it's a little crooked, so it's right in here. So I want to bend it over. All right, I'm just trying to push it over just a little bit that way, because that's where the bend is. All right. All right, still a little bit. I'm gonna fix that. If it's not in line, it'll be aggravating, so we definitely want to make sure it's all lined up. I don't like to have a tool that it's supposed to be straight. You know, this is a straight thing except for the little arc at the end. You got another little tool for that. That's it. Punch. Okay. I know, if I didn't throw them on the ground, it'd be a lot easier to find them, I know. Whoa. That looks better. Get it over just a little bit more. It's just like a hair off. I think it's right now. All right. Yeah, okay. That's it, our chisel. Got to do some grinding on it, and that's pretty much it. Like this part, take off. So we can dress the rest of that up after heat treat. I think that's right on the money there, you know. So this is our bark spud. It's got a nice taper in it. So a little cleanup in here, a little cleanup on the socket and heat treat, and then we'll test it. To be continued.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
absolutely. It looks good.
Cool. Well, that was fun. That was like a challenge, and it's always fun to try to make something that you don't normally make, which is nice. Something that someone will use too. I like to make useful stuff. But
Well, I got a whole list of stuff I need.
okay, cool. You have to forward it to Ryan, and then him and his committee will put together a think tank, and they'll decide whether or not we should do that. I hate that name. That's a stupid think tank. How stupid. Every time I hear that, I'm like, what the hell kind of tank is that? That ain't no, that's cool. Stupid. So drill a hole, and then that's it.
2 hours if you want to give them the sign off.
Yeah, that's pretty much our live feed for today. So thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate y'all. And we had fun, good time. Nathan could come over and we could work on a project like this. So makes it interesting to see something start. And then later on, you'll see on his channel, absolutely. Hopefully he'll be using it and hopefully it'll work. Hopefully we designed it right. Me not knowing anything about a bark spud, but hopefully it will work. So thanks for watching. So subscribe to
Out of the Woods, and if you're from my channel watching this, then hopefully Jason will be at my sawmill in a few weeks. I got some curly maple to saw.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. Curly maple. It's one of my favorite ones to use on handle material. So, but thanks y'all. Y'all have a great day. Remember, subscribe to Jason Knight and Out of the Woods Forestry, and follow us on Instagram. The name is the same.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.